all means, do not use Olaplex or any other product that is causing you any type of irritation, period. It's your girl Bevy with HairScripts. I've been MIA for a minute and I have a whole why I've been MIA video on here. Go watch that. But I made it back just in time to hop on this topic to talk about the Olaplex lawsuit, right? And I wouldn't be me if I didn't talk about the Olaplex lawsuit. Number one, all over this channel, I praise Olaplex, so it's time for me to talk about it. And then number two, yeah, this is all about science, right? So why not come in on a topic that is obviously something that I should be covering here. So if you're new to this channel, okay, welcome. Pull up whatever you want to sip on. Get your notepad because this is class, okay? Here I talk about the science of hair growth and hair loss. Hair growth and hair loss are not the same. Stop using them interchangeably. But then also, yeah, like I go into the nitty gritty, you know what I'm saying? Like I split hairs, know what I mean? Like I go deep. Like I don't just do all the surface stuff. And if I did, then it's gonna change. So if you get bored, forgive me, okay? But I really want you guys to understand the science behind not only hair loss and hair growth, but also some of these products that's on the market and that you use, bada bada bing, bada bada boom. So I said this in another video and I'll say it again just in case I have new people. For those of you who say you want chemical-free products, this is why I only deal with clean and chemical-free products. That is a lie. There is no such thing as anything chemical-free. This entire world is made up of chemicals. The entire world. And if you have a problem with that, take that up with the periodic table, not with me. I am not the person who created this. God did, but that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, everything is made up of chemicals. Now, there are unprocessed chemicals, but the unfortunate thing with unprocessed chemicals is they cannot stay in their unprocessed form or state at all times, right? The minute you mix them with something else, it doesn't even matter if it's a nut unprocessed chemical. The minute you mix chemicals, they start to create chemical compounds and it changed the entire compound of that initial chemical, okay? So I just want to put that there for a minute. Yes, there are products that are safer than others. There are products that use mostly unharmful chemicals or natural ingredients, but all natural is a no. Even your clean products, if it's on a shelf, it has a preservative in it, it has something synthetic in it, it has a chemical. So now they're just lying, okay? But I just had to put that out there. I had to put that out there just because I had to put it out there, okay? So anyway, let's talk about Olaplex, okay? Now I do have this on hand because I stock up, like I stock up on Olaplex. But we're gonna look at my notes because I want to give you guys the facts. So obviously, if for those of you who don't know, you've probably already been listening. Over 30 women, I want to say somewhere in February of this year, across the country claimed that they suffered hair loss and scalp damage as a result of using Olaplex, right? I mean, I can't go back and forth about all the nuances about their lawsuit. I mean, let's just talk about some of the things. So I think it was February 9th, roughly 30 women. They're seeking $75K in damages. Now, I was a little surprised when I heard $75K because I was like, I mean, no shade. If you gonna sue somebody, I mean, sue them for what it's worth. Now, they claim they had open sores, burns, hair loss, and breakage, right? So I just wanted to give you the who, what, when, where, how. That's basically the gist of it. Like, I'm not about to go into all the details of the actual lawsuit. Now, what I do want you guys to know about the FDA is that the FDA does not approve any over-the-counter cosmetics at all. All they do is regulate mislabeling. The FDA only regulates when it's time to actively regulate, when it's time to enforce. So like in a case like this, when there's litigation involved, now that's when the FDA steps in to regulate, right? But if you can put anything on the market, right? You can literally put anything you want on the market, and especially via e-commerce, right? And it can make any claim. It doesn't matter until now your behind is in grass, until now ish hit the fan, and now everybody's after you the way they are after Olaplex. Now, that's what you need to know about the FDA, okay? I'm looking at my notes because I just want to stay succinct so I don't be on here for an hour, because for those of you who are my OGs, you know I'll be here for an hour. So that's what you need to know about the FDA. The FDA only encourages manufacturers and brands like Olaplex to do their own testing for safety and efficacy. So efficacy means, is the product actually efficacious? Does it actually work? Is it effective? Okay, does it do what it claims to do? Does it function to do? So if it says it's going to grow hair, if it says that it's going to do X, Y, and Z, does it really do that, right? And it's not mandatory for them to do this testing. Most companies with money anyway, like Olaplex are going to do this testing because they want to prove to the consumer that, hey, like, we are clinically proven to do what we say we can do, right? And then as far as safety, again, FDA only encourages manufacturers to test the safety. Obviously, the only thing that's regulated are colors and dyes. That's regulated in in most products are colors and dyes, especially here in the US, right? So that's one thing. Now, I have been reading somewhere that Olaplex uses a fragrance called Lilial. Basically, it's a fragrance. That's all it is. It's a cosmetic fragrance that's used. It's a chemical fragrance used in a lot of things, but then you go on their website and it doesn't show it. So was there a reformulation done? Possibly. They have the money to quickly do what they need to do, which is, i.e., reformulate and then be able to update the ingredients on the website. As far as going on their website to find anything incriminating, it's not going to happen, right? Again, they have this, they have the stash, they have the legal team that can already update what needs to be updated and get rid of any evidence and bury the dead bodies, okay? But like I said, Lilial, in certain things that I was reading when I was doing research about this, suggest that there was Lilial, and Lilial is something that is a known carcinogen. It is a fragrance that's a known carcinogen, and that can cause blood disorders and leukemia, and that it can also, for some reason, impact fertility. So again, it's a chemical compound that is used as a fragrance, and what I've read is that for the most part, it was in it, but I don't see it anywhere on the screen. So I can't confirm, right? I can't confirm, deny. All of their different products have different ingredients. So that being said, let's move on because I'm looking at my notes. Basically, that's something that I want you guys to know because the FDA is usually only on top of pharmaceutical drugs. They are in there behind, okay? Spread left to right, okay? In there, okay? That's when the FDA gets involved. The FDA is truly involved in pharmaceutical drugs, chemical compounds. Those things cannot come out without the FDA's involvement. But cosmetics, I mean, it's the wild, wild west, honey, especially with e-commerce, okay? You might have better chances if you go get your products from Target, Walmart, and things like that. Not to say that they're regulating, but some of them now are looking for certain things to go on their shelves. But again, as far as the actual product is concerned, there's always room for some of these things, right? So now let's talk about, I'm gonna go into what I think. Do I still use Olaplex? Do I recommend that you still use Olaplex? And do I think Olaplex is guilty? Do I believe that the women are full of crap and they're just looking for a grab bag? What is it that I think? What is it that I suggest to you? Is this possibly true? We're gonna go into all of that, but really quickly, I wanna take a step back, rewind to the history and the understanding of the science of Olaplex and what it is and what it actually does. Because just like everything else that goes viral on TikTok, we start buying it and we use it up because some influencer told us it's great, it's amazing, it did wonders for their hair, and then we run and buy it, really not understanding the science behind it. So let me explain the science behind it. Olaplex has an active, it's a patented active ingredient, meaning only Olaplex products has this ingredient. No other product, you cannot find a competitor that has this ingredient because it's patented. There's also no knockoff, there's no great value brand because it's a patented ingredient, okay, called bisaminopropyl diglycol demaliate, okay? I know it's a mouthful, but this is a patented ingredient that works by repairing disulfide bonds in the hair, okay? So what the hell is disulfide bonds, right? So disulfide bonds are pretty much strong chemical bonds that's found in your hair, right? Basically a protein that's found in your hair, okay? Everybody's hair, and this is why I went into the whole chemical thing in the beginning of this video, because your hair is made up of chemicals, right? You have chemicals in your hair. Disulfide bonds are one of them. And basically, disulfide bonds are there to help give the hair its structure. So that structure that your hair has, that texture that your hair has, that, you know, that scaffolding, that shape, that body yardie that your hair has, that's all from disulfide bonds. But unfortunately, unlike collagen, which is something that just dies pretty much from the age of 25 and older, you're no longer producing collagen. Disulfide bonds is something that is decomposed by the structure, and the elasticity is destroyed and broken from things like, you know, heat damage, using too much heat, over processing your hair, you know, chemicals that break the disulfide bonds, leaving your hair weak. Basically styling, any products that have certain chemical treatments, or like relaxers, color treatments, curling irons, all that stuff. As you can see right now, obviously I've destroyed some of my disulfide bonds because I'm in my straight hair, you know, ish right now. I'm in New York, you know what I'm saying? It's cold out here, and when it's cold outside, I be wanting my hair straight. And so now I gotta do a whole lot of repairing for the summer, honey. So disulfide bonds, these are bonds formed when two sulfur atoms on separate amino acids in the hair protein cysteine bond together. Basically, it's just a whole lot of proteins just bonding together and forming these structures. These are disulfide bonds. You color your hair, perm your hair, put heat on your hair, you do all these different things to your hair, and you're breaking those bonds. Unlike collagen, which you have to stimulate collagen, you have to re-inject collagen because it's just something that your body is truly not really going to continue to create. Disulfide bonds you can repair. And this is where Olaplex comes in. Because of its patented ingredient, meaning that it's the only one with this ingredient, the way this works. So let me see if I can just, so Olaplex products, the mechanism of action is designed to repair the disulfide bonds by helping the hair to restore its elasticity and its overall health. Let me see if I can give you guys the exact mechanism of action. The mechanism of action of Olaplex is different from other hair conditioning treatments, which just simply coats the hair into a film to make it appear smoother and shinier. This ingredient actually penetrates to the deeper level of the hair shaft, and it repairs those disulfide bonds, and it prevents damage and breakage. So basically, it has a true function. And again, this patented ingredient is called bis-aminopropyl diglycol dimaleate, okay? And only Olaplex has this. So I had to take that moment to tell you this is how it works. So now let's go back to the Olaplex. What is that thing called? Why I can't talk today? The lawsuit. Let's go back to the thing. So let's go back to the lawsuit. So these women are claiming that they have open sores, and they have, some of them have open sores, burns, hair loss, and breakage. Another thing that I wanted to also mention is that all the products in the line, or all the product in the product suite for Olaplex, are not created equal. Some products have sensitizers, they have sulfate silicones, some of them have harsh chemicals in them, right? So that's a given. Some of them do. Which one specifically? I don't know. I don't use all of them. I typically use 0 and 3. 0 definitely is a chemical, honey. Definitely so. So now let's talk about the connection between their mechanism of action and the claims that it helps to restore the bonds and repair the elasticity of your hair. And then let's talk about what it's actually doing as far as causing, according to these women, allegedly causing hair loss, breakage, burns, and open sores, okay? Now, is this possible? There is a test that Olaplex did do because they wanted to combat. They was combating like all the hair loss claims and all the open sores and burns and blistering claims. So we're gonna talk about that in a minute. No, let's talk about that right now, actually. So, okay, I went on the site because, again, I like to be a little scientist. I need to be MacGyver, Inspector Gadget. I'm like, I hit what everybody else is saying, but let's see what the science says. So there is, Olaplex conducted a study. It's called the HRIPT or HRIPT test. It's called the Human Repeat Insult Patch Test. It's the industry standard for human clinical tests used for topical personal care and pharmaceutical products to test for any potential irritants or irritations or sensitization issue. In English, what that means is this is a standard patch test to see if these products, if they're causing irritation, inflammation, if they're just irritating people's scalp, if they're irritating the skin, etc. Now, there's a whole lot of stuff about the protocol and how the process, the study design, the testing process, how they find people. They find people with sensitive skin. They find people with normal skin. They find different volunteers that may or may not have different symptoms. It says that, the volunteers, to make this successful, that means that they couldn't have any sensitivity, no symptoms of irritation, no inflammation to the hair follicle, no primary cause of hair loss. So that's what have made this pretty much whatever, right? So how does HRIPT prove product safety? Through the potential skin sensitizers, evaluating the severity of skin sensitization. Guys, it's hard for me to get these words out today. And providing proof of safety. So what are the results of this? The results show that Olaplex's products pass the HRIPT test. I'm calling it the HRIPT. I'm not sure if I'm wrong. Someone who knows about this, let me know below. The HRIPT. I'm calling it the HRIPT test, okay? Shows that it has no dermal irritation or sensitization. Specifically, Olaplex number 2 and 3 were tested on 80 human test subjects and show 0 irritation. Olaplex 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 were tested on over 100 human test subjects and showed 0 irritation. Okay, in addition, tests were performed on individuals with sensitive skin for Olaplex 0, 3, 4, and 5. These tests were conducted on 51 and showed no indication of a potential dermal irritation or sensitization. Okay, so all of that in English shows that they're saying that all their products passed with flying colors. It shows that there was absolutely no irritation on these people. So now let's go into what I think about the overall lawsuit, what I think about Olaplex, what I think, okay? So number one, let me tell you what I think about the HRIPT test. First of all, this was only tested on 80 humans for a few 151. What happened to the 81st person? What happened to the 101 person? What happened to the 52nd person, right? Now, by the way, this is not Olaplex conducting the test. This is a third-party person, third-party, I'm just gonna call it vendor, a third-party lab that's conducting this test for Olaplex. So they do have to report what they find. So let's kind of say, well, what if Olaplex is lying? They can't. This is a third-party tester. They have to report what they find, okay? But here's the thing. Again, what happened to the person once, the 51st person? Olaplex is so popular that there's thousands, maybe millions of people at this point on this. Is there potential for Olaplex to do all of these things? 110%. 110%. Can Olaplex cause sores, open sores, irritation to the scalp, skin, burns, hair loss, breakage? Did they possibly do this to these women? Absolutely. Why? Because every product on the market, every cosmetic product can do that. That is the point. I'm sorry it took me forever to get to that point, but that's what I need you guys to know. I need you to know that every product on the market, because it is not approved by the FDA and not really regulated until we're in a situation like this, everything has the potential to cause irritation, okay? For example, I love honey pot products. I do. Is it honey pot? Child, I don't even know. And it's for your vag, okay? Now, honestly, there's some people that it causes irritation to, and it doesn't to me, right? But then there's other people who use Always, and I can't. It burns the hell out of me, right? But here's what you need to do. When you're starting any new product regimen, any new hair care regimen, you use any product, you have to test. You have to test and see if that product works for you. There is something wrong with combining so many different products at one time, because when you do have irritation, you don't know what's the cause of that, right? You don't know what's the cause of that. The other thing with hair loss is because some of these chemicals can irritate the follicle in the scalp, there is a possibility that in some way that it could have caused hair loss. But the other thing is, hair loss is caused by a number of different things. No one knows what the genetic composition, what the genetic testing is for some of these women. We don't know if these women are predisposed to hair loss, if they already had hair loss and Olaplex just kind of, propelled or kind of like accelerated that process. We don't know if Olaplex, we don't know if it exacerbated a problem, an underlying condition that they may have. Some of them may already be going through hair loss and they're just blaming it on Olaplex. Here's the answer. The overall answer is these women can be right and these women can be wrong. Olaplex can be right and Olaplex can be wrong. What I think is going to happen overall, which always happens in cases like these, is that Olaplex is going to settle out of court with these women, and for the most part, they're just going to go in crisis management mode. They're just going to fix their brand, and over time, hopefully we forget it, maybe somebody else is sued, and then that's it. Do I recommend you stop using Olaplex? If you're experiencing irritation, everything that these women are saying is synonymous, pretty much congruent with what you're going through, by all means, do not use Olaplex or any other product that is causing you any type of irritation. Whether it's deodorant, toothpaste, child, any other hair care product that you're using, period. If you've been fine with the Olaplex, if you have had great experience with this bond improvement, improving the texture of your hair, and you have not had any of those issues and you want to keep using them, by all means, because what's going to happen is if they did have irritating chemicals and if they did have all these issues, or if they had chemicals that were a little questionable, guess what they're going to do now? They're going to reformulate, if they haven't already, and they're going to make it a little bit more safe, right? Listen, people are going to do what they can get, brands, people, anyone is going to get away with what they can get away with, okay? Until they can't get away with it anymore. So because they have the money, they have the legal team, they have the manufacturing capabilities, there will be a reformulation that's going to make Olaplex safer, and it's still going to have its patented ingredient that works to repair the bonds of hair, which no one else has. Now, I have not done research on the specific ingredient, to see the patented ingredient, to see if that may be a culprit, but I'm sure Olaplex is doing that testing, and I will be happy to update you guys. But as far as what I've seen so far from Olaplex, there was nothing specific to the testing of the actual patented ingredient. But let me just double check before I come off of here, just to make sure, honey. So let me see if there's a clinical study on their patented ingredient and see if there's anything. But usually if there were, So far, bis-aminopropyl diglycol dimaleate has a clean bill of health. No one called out the ingredient. Really is the additives and the fragrance that has been determined toxic, okay? And has effects on fertility. So there you have it. That's what I found just as a quick overview, just a quick glance. I'll do deeper digging, and if there's any updates, I'll include it in the comment section. But that's my advice, okay? And it's not because I'm just like pro Olaplex. At the end of the day, listen, into chemicals, I understand products, I'm into all of that stuff, and all of these things have side effects, period. So if you don't want side effects, I recommend using eggs, mayonnaise, and avocados and aloe vera. There's nothing wrong with that. Will you have the same results as something that has a chemical compound that has boosting agents in it? No, you won't, but you will run the risk of, or not run the risk of any of these. My advice to every and anyone is absolutely, when you're trying something new, patch test. You do your own patch test. Put it here. Make sure that it's not going to cause some kind of irritation. It's not going to burn. It's not going to. And if it does, then that's signs that you need to stop using it. You know, you guys ever seen on the shave room the what I got versus what I asked for versus what I got? And when you see the what they got, you're like, well, sis, did you really sit there through the whole session before you realized that you didn't like your nails? It's the same thing. It's like, bro, if you're feeling irritated, why the hell are you still using it, right? I'm sure they noticed their hair shedding, or they noticed the burn while they noticed it. At the end of the day, if they didn't notice it until the end, understood. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is different. Everyone doesn't understand hair and hair loss, and maybe they were seeing their hair fall and they didn't know what was the cause. So my answer is, could it be that Olaplex did this? Absolutely. Could it be that Olaplex didn't do it for some of them, and that some of them are just already experiencing some of these symptoms because of underlying conditions or other bad habits that they've had? Absolutely. They're both wrong and they're both right. What's gonna happen in my mind is, in my opinion, they're gonna settle out anyway, because there's no way to prove or disprove at this point. Olaplex has the money. They're gonna go into crisis management. They're gonna go into reputation repair. They're gonna go into reformulations for anything that may have already been gray, and now because all eyes, including the FDA, is on them, they're gonna fix their problems. They're gonna clean up their act, and that's it. I don't see them folding as a company. They're gonna still exist, and people are still gonna use them because they still work for some people. And then you got people like me that I'm gonna read the new labels for the new products and make sure that it's something that I'm willing to use. But as for throwing my stuff away, or the old stuff, maybe. As for not buying it again, I'll see what else is out there. I've been hearing about K18, so it's time for me to put on my little Investa-Gadget stuff, my little microscope, and look into K18 and see. But keep in mind, ladies and gents, any products that you use, especially chemical products with active ingredients, with chemical active ingredients, can cause and will cause for some people some type of irritation. Okay, so that is my view on that. I hope that answered your question. Really nothing much to see here. All right, like this video if it was helpful, and if it wasn't, please tell me in the comments, because the engagement helps me, honey. It helps, even if it's all hate. So send all the hate and all the love to below. Bye.